So I want to explain why I think that building interactive art pieces are like little chemistry experiments for product design. I'm going to use an example of a 6-foot-tall interactive flower sculpture that I built with some other classmates in grad school to raise awareness for Hunger Action Month in September of 2016. I want to explain 5 lessons from that experience and how they apply in designing new products and my work as a product manager. My name is Jono. I'm a mechanical design engineer and product manager, and I work on consumer electronics. So let's dive in. So first lesson is about having a unique value proposition. For us, with this project, we were working with nonprofits, but we weren't trying to solve the hunger problem in the United States. We were just trying to bring some more awareness. So just like a flower has to blossom before a plant can bear fruit, we were trying to make that first step and get students and other people in the community more aware and knowledgeable of the work that was being done in Philadelphia. It feels like a jump, but an example of this in business is Tesla, a company trying to get more electric cars out into the world. And they realized an obstacle was that electric cars weren't cool. So they built the first Tesla Roadster to be a really attractive, good-looking car and get people interested in the style and the aesthetic of it, and then managed to later release more affordable and accessible cars, and that's how they're spreading the electric cars out into the market. The second lesson, which is a hard one to learn, is that marketing is crucial. For this project, we would not have gotten it onto the campus at the University of Pennsylvania if we couldn't talk about it in a compelling way. So it was really important to have a story, talk about what partners we were going to work with, how the nonprofits were getting involved, and the way that people walking by the sculpture could actually connect with the nonprofits. So the story was, if you took a photo and posted it on Instagram or Twitter, you were spreading the message of the nonprofits because the big sculpture had a plaque on it with information from the partners. And when you spread the message, you were watering the plant. So the plant would slowly open in response as people tweeted and shared on Instagram. And the nonprofit partners could go and reply on Twitter. They could actually engage with the people that were sharing these photos. So the lesson of storytelling and having a clear message around your product can be seen all over the place. But one example is actually Steve Jobs. When he was working on Apple products before he went to Pixar, his messaging was not quite as clear. For the launch of the computer Lisa, he released a 9-page ad full of technical features. After he was unfortunately kicked out of Apple, he went and worked at Pixar and really learned a lot about storytelling from the people at Pixar. He came back and made some really impressive advertisement. And after Pixar, he did the Think Different campaign, which is very memorable for all the ads and even the poetry that was written for the advertisement.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels.
Still resonates with a lot of people. And what he took away from that was that the story is really important. People aren't excited about all the technical features and 9 pages of specs about your computer. They want to hear a story. They want to connect with the product. Third lesson is about delighting your customer. So it's really important not just to satisfy a need of your customer. You want to go above and beyond what their expectation is. At the initial launch, the sculpture responded. If you tweeted, it would open, but it took about 60 seconds. And I really didn't like that. I really enjoyed watching people when I was sitting by the sculpture, which I did for many days over the 2 weeks it was there, just checking out how people interacted with it. If they tweeted and they saw the response immediately, it was really satisfying, and they would smile and they would tell their friends and they'd kind of bring more people in. So I wanted to improve the speed of the server response, which was scraping Twitter and checking for this specific hashtag. It would have been really easy to say, hey, this thing is up and it's running. Let's just keep it going. I actually took the time to go in and put in some effort to improve the speed and get the server responding faster. Also, on occasion, if I saw somebody tweet, I had a little hack. I could get the sculpture to open myself, so I would send a little text over to it and get it to open. It was really satisfying to see people get that immediate feedback from the sculpture, because sometimes it did take a little longer. There's some lags, there's some technical challenges. So Mike Krieger and Kevin Systrom understood the importance of simplicity. When they launched Instagram, you were able to post your photo with 3 clicks. And not only were you able to post the photo, but you could post a really beautiful photo because they offered all of the filters. There was no shortage of competition when they launched their app, but what they did is they made it really simple and they made it delightful. They made it really fun for the user to post your photo and share with people your normal day with some cool filters and some good style to it. The fourth lesson is don't let the small version slow you down. So for us, building this 6-foot-tall sculpture, we wanted to make a smaller version. And it was helpful to figure out the mechanism to build a 6-inch version of the project out of MDF. We made this really small version to understand the mechanism and make sure we didn't have any snafus. We considered making a foot-tall version to figure out some more of the details, but decided, hey, you know what? We need to make this thing. We're going to figure out a lot along the way. So let's just dive in and start building. And that was really helpful. It can be easy to get bogged down building a lot of iterations along the way, but you want to make sure you're progressing toward the thing that you're actually going to put in front of people. When Drew Houston wanted to show off the features of Dropbox, he actually just made a video demo of the product without actually having any of the technical backend done. The product was really well received. People were super excited about it, and only then did they go and build the first version. But the first version of Dropbox was fully functional. Right out of the gates, they had something that they could ship and get in front of users. I think that's really important, not to get stuck iterating a lot of versions that aren't actually useful for anyone. The fifth lesson is about a larger cause. Working towards a larger cause supplies infinite energy, and I found this to be the case on the project. Initially, we had the idea for a sculpture that would respond to tweets, but when we paired it with my interest in nonprofits working around the hunger crisis in Philadelphia, we were able to come up with a lot bigger message and goal with this project. And it was really successful. We would not have been able to install this thing on Penn's campus without that story. We also were able to get a social impact grant from the School of Design that supplied money to buy the materials that we used to build this large thing. The technological piece was another challenge, and we got a free board from Dragonfly, a company out there that makes PCBs. And the project took maybe 10 weeks of full-time work, including some nights and weekends. So it was really good to have that extra energy and motivation to keep working on this, particularly when we faced a lot of small obstacles and challenges along the way. When Yvon Chouinard founded Patagonia, he had a singular focus of making clothes that help people get into the outdoors. But he went beyond that, actually started focusing on making a company that would have a positive impact on the environment and do good for the world. He started the 1% for the environment movement, where they donate 1% of their profits to nonprofits and other people doing good work for the environment. And he also says this: at Patagonia, making a profit is not the goal, because the Zen master would say profits happen when you do everything else right. Patagonia focuses not just on making good products and cool stuff, but they also have a larger vision of what their impact is going to be on the world. So the question is where you go from here. If an interactive sculpture is like a mini chemistry experiment, it can be helpful to understand a little bit of the chemistry behind what you're building. And I have another video you can check out, which is about how building electronics is really helpful for me. And you may ask, what did we do with the sculpture? Well, after we were done installing in a couple different places, we did what we were supposed to do. We took it apart and we used those components to build the next thing. So go build another thing. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. And if you got something useful out of this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks.